Honestly, not surprised. And I'm actually glad. I know a lot of people, when you're operating in your emotional state, you're not thinking rationally. And for the fan base that's frustrated for all the many years of not having a ring, I can understand why they're like, blow it up. Everybody that you see on TV, all the analysts, they're like, blow it up just because it's the hot topic. It's the thing to say in reference to the Dallas Cowboys. But in terms of business wise, in terms of Mr. Jones and his family, it blowing up the entire organization and the coaching staff was not going to be the most feasible option because in reality, how many coaches in the NFL have a consecutive winning record of 12-5 to position you for a playoff run to go ultimately get the Lombardi trophy? And that list is very short. And ultimately, when you look at the risk versus reward, you much rather know how much further you have to go than try to blow it all up and reload and run the risk of not even getting to where you're at currently. And I think that's really once Mr. Jones and the rest of the family, Will McClay, Stephen Jones, once the decision makers really had opportunity to sit in a room and take the emotions out of it, I think that's probably the rational state that they really kind of found themselves coming to.
You probably know people within the organization more than the common folk. Coach McCarthy amongst the players seems like there's a good relationship, and it's the move that the players wanted him back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he has a great rapport with the players. He's built a culture of trust in the building. You got to remember when he came in during the COVID year. So he had a lot that he had to really, that himself and the majority of this team had to go through together. They had to go through some tough times and so through some uncertain times, things that we've never seen before in this nation. So he built up a lot of trust in how he handled that situation. And then from that year, they've gotten better. From that year, he's gotten a better relationship with obviously the front office staff in terms of building this team, in terms of the direction that they're going, in terms of the positioning that they're going into the playoffs in. So they're improving. The frustration remains the same, but they're improving, and the players absolutely love it. There's a lot of opportunities for him to mishandle the personnel on this team this year, and he did so with flying colors.
It's an off season coming off of the game that just happened, and that you have some big name coaches that are available on the
Right.
market. In your opinion, or maybe you even have spoke to people about this, did they even ever think about trying to bring in a Bill Belichick or Jim Harbaugh or Mike Vrabel, anyone along those lines?
From the information that I have inside the building, there was never a search for an additional coach. I think Mr. Jones had opportunity to sit down with Coach McCarthy, sit down with the rest of the leadership in the organization, and figure out, hey, what went wrong and where do we need to go? Um, I don't think it was ever an alternative to try to go find somebody else. What I would like to see personally, I would like for them to obviously remain with the current staff. There's going to be changes. There's a high probability that you're going to lose Dan Quinn. So there's already enough change there with just that side of the ball and the personnel that defensive coordinator is going to have. And there's a whole lot that goes into that change. But I would like for them to bring in a type of Bill Belichick if he was, wanting to open to the opportunity to come in as a consultant to Coach McCarthy, because you're not having an issue with the regular season. You're having an issue with the playoffs. So if you're having an issue with the playoffs, most organizations bring in somebody who's very great, who's great at what it is that they do. And if they've been successful and they're to go in the playoffs, then bring that person as another accessory of wisdom and utilize him for self-evaluations, for self-critique, and for game planning and all those things to help prepare them to get them over that hump, because that's all that it is a hump that they just haven't overcome yet.
I'm going to leave you one more question, and we'll leave it here. How much pressure heading into next season for the coach in his final year of his deal? Also, the quarterback, who is going to be up for a big time extension as well. A lot of pressure on that team.
There's a lot of pressure. I mean, obviously wearing the star on your helmet, there's a lot of pressure regardless, but it's even heightened because of how you left this most recent season and then the contract situations that you're going forward with. Michael Parsons has to get paid. CeeDee Lamb has to get paid. Dak Prescott has to get paid. They all have to get paid around the same time. And Coach McCarthy just happens to be up the same year. So a lot of guys playing for their positions, a lot of guys playing to prove a point. And ultimately, they're proving, to the Cowboys nation that they can go forth and they should be brought back.